This morning, it's all about the need is real and God got you. God's got you. The text, the talk, and the takeaway. Here is the text. The text is Jonah 1, 1 and 2. You already saying, Jonah? Oh, I already know that. No, you don't. Hold on. It says this, the word of the Lord came to Jonah. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach. Go to the great city and preach. God's got you. Here it is. God will chase you down in order for you to meet God's needs. And I need you to look at the story of Jonah. Excuse me. Look at the story of Jonah through a whole different lens now. A whole different lens. We always talk about how Jonah is running. I need you to look at it through the lens of how God has a need. God has a need, and Jonah meets the need. Jonah fulfills the need. And three things I need you to grab this morning. The first thing is God's needs will change your journey. God's needs will change your journey. In verse 3, here it is, Jonah ran away from God, trying his best to get away from God. God's needs will change your journey. Let me share a little story with you, my own personal story. I had no inkling. I have no idea. I had no desire to come to the Midwest. Nothing against the Midwest. Not at all. Wonderful area and region of the country. I just didn't want to come. I wanted to do other things. My Air Force career was bustling and moving and shaking, and I wanted to stay on the East Coast. I wanted to stay in the D.C. area, wanted to move to a different headquarters position. But God said, wait a minute. That's not your journey. That's not your journey. God's needs will change your journey. He changed my journey completely, and he'll change yours. He'll change yours. You just got to come around to it. Changed my journey, brought me here, and it has been a blessing ever since. It's been a blessing ever since. I'll say this and then I'll move on to the second thing. I have a good friend that came and he was doing consultant work for the church. And he said to me, anointed man of God, huge church. And he said to me, and then it really grabbed me. He said, you know what, Bishop, I could have never had a church as great as this church in the middle of this cornfield. I'm not anointed for this, but you are. I grabbed it. I understood it. God had need of me here. And the East Coast, not so much. The need wasn't there. The need was here. And God matched it. And he changed my journey. Here's the second thing I want you to grab. Second thing is this. God's needs will swallow up your need. You better watch it. Better watch it, because in verse 12, in the first chapter, what happens? They get into a storm. When they get into the storm, Jonah said, hey, it's me. Throw me overboard. They still tried not to, but ultimately, in trying to throw over the weight, finally Jonah says, I got to go. And when he jumped off in the second chapter, the first verse, you already know what happened. Got swallowed up. You have to understand something. That when God has need for you, his need is going to swallow up your needs as well as change your journey. Here's the third thing I need you to grab. God's needs is always about others. We oftentimes look at ourselves. I do it. God, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And we personalize it. It's not a problem. But the issue is that whatever you think you need to do, it better match what God wants to do for others. Let me say that one more time. Whatever you think God has called you to do and you have passion and you are all about it, moving here and there, well, it's going to come to naught if it does not involve others. It's all about others. And here is Jonah. In Jonah 4:11, it says this. Nineveh was more than 120,000 people. More than 120,000 people. And God says, wait a minute, Jonah, my needs are those people's needs. And therefore, I'm going to make sure their needs are met through you. Always understand something. The needs of God always involve other people. And to that degree, your needs must be symbiotic with other people. Or God is going to change your journey and swallow up your whole agenda. What's your takeaway this morning? Takeaway is this: stop running from God's, because he's going to get you. He is. He's going to chase you down because he's trying to get his needs met, not yours. He's going to get his needs met, and he's going to chase you down. And that's why we can say, God's got you, and he's going to get you. Go ahead and surrender and do what God has called you to do. The Lord be with you. His face shine upon you and give you peace. Have an excellent day. Share this manna. Don't keep this to yourself. Don't be greedy. Don't eat all the manna and don't share it with somebody else. I got more manna for you tomorrow morning. And I want you to continue to pray. Pray for my church that we have favor this Monday as we go before City Council, as we meet the needs of senior citizens in our congregation and in the community. God bless you. See you tomorrow morning with more Money Manna. Bye now.